7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. On Friday, February 27th, 2026, at approximately 5:29 p.m., Clinton Police, Clinton Fire, and DeWitt County EMS responded to the report of a pedestrian being struck by a motor vehicle at the intersection of Illinois Route 54 and Illini Drive. Upon arrival, the investigation revealed that a 2011 GMC Canyon was traveling westbound on Illinois Route 54, approaching the intersection of Illini Drive. The driver of the pickup truck reported being blinded by the setting sun and unable to determine the color of the traffic signal upon approach of the intersection, slowing to a near stop. Upon closer approach, both the driver of the truck and an eastbound traveling witness confirmed that the eastbound-westbound signal light was green, and the driver proceeded to accelerate into the intersection, at which time a southbound walking pedestrian was struck by the front driver's side of the westbound truck. It is noted that the sidewalks and crosswalks for said intersection are on the west and south sides of the intersection, and the pedestrian was crossing on the east side of the intersection where no crosswalk or pedestrian signal was present. The pedestrian was identified as a 79-year-old Clinton woman who was alert and conscious upon arrival and transported via ambulance and ultimately helicopter to Carle Hospital in Champaign with serious injuries. The names of the involved parties are being withheld at this time. Clinton police were assisted in the investigation by the Illinois State Police Traffic Crash Reconstruction Unit. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, DeWitt County Development Council announces latest grant cycle. The Neighborhood Care Center had an eventful 2025, which is setting them up for success in 2026. On the WHOW Morning Show Monday, Mandy Reese told the Heart Media Group that some nice surprises, highlighted by Meta and Constellation's pledge of $45,000, have allowed them to begin dreaming about where they can grow. She adds that they put a focus on non-monetary donations last year.
2025 was great. We had a lot of really cool things happen that were unexpected that allowed us to kind of start dreaming about what's next for Neighborhood Care Center. Because if you are in nonprofit world at all, you know how hard it is to, dreaming's easy, but dreaming usually requires money, and sometimes the money just isn't there to actually do the things that you'd like to see happen. And so we were really fortunate. Constellation gave us a really large gift of $45,000 back in, that kind of started the middle of summer, but gave it to us like September, October. And so we were able to do several projects at both our Clinton network and McLean County network with the idea of expanding our non-monetary donation capacity. And so Kelly Rempe actually shifted over into a more focused role. And so she's now our distribution center director. And so we're kind of dreaming about, like, what does that look like? What does increased capacity mean? And what does that mean not only for Neighborhood Care Center, but for the other organizations in our community that we can partner with? So it's just really cool.
Cody Monkman feels that the donations made in 2025, especially in the second half of the year, were mind-blowing. He notes that it has been since before the pandemic that NCC has been as good a financial state as it is now.
Well, hearing Mandy talk and share a little bit more, I was like, yeah, 2025 was the second half of 2025 was a big mind-blowing half a year because of Constellation's investment, the surprise of the angel donor, and really honestly, really since the COVID shutdown, we have not been in the season of dreaming what's next. It's just trying to maintain status quo and in regards to the organizational side of the care center. And so, the second half of last year, it started off with Constellation. They kind of gave us a reason to start thinking about what does it look like for us to leverage the care center network for the sake of not, I feel like we serve local families in DeWitt County and Maroa and McLean County pretty well. I think this increased capacity, part of that is how can we serve other social clubs, other nonprofits? How can we support them and inspire them? Because a lot of those groups connect with specific demographics way better than what, say, Neighborhood Care Center can do.
Distribution has been a big beneficiary of these funds. Monkman indicates that Kelly Rempe has shifted to a role more focused on the distribution side of the organization, which pairs with the facility updates they have completed as well.
Before you can build a partnership, you got to increase your capacity to then do that. So here's what happened was Kelly Rempe slid over into a focused distribution center director role. She developed the internal processes and systems necessary within her team and the human resources with her team. And then with Constellation's investment, we improved the infrastructure of what we now refer to as the distribution center for Neighborhood Care Center, which is on the north side of the Clinton location. And now Kelly actually just got done finishing this past week her first intentional event, working with local churches and maybe a couple of social groups. But of course, we got to get more non-monetary goods now that we have our systems and our infrastructure set up. Now it's about how can we increase those non-monetary goods to then regift them.
So I think the big thing with her shifting into that role is in the past, partnerships just kind of landed in our lap a little bit with non-monetary donations. There wasn't this intentional seeking it out. And so now we're in a season of like, okay, who do we want to reach out to? How do we want to do it? And so just this past week, Kelly did an event called Stuff Our Shelves. And so she reached out to several local churches and was just like, hey, we're trying this thing. Would you be willing to kind of experiment with us? And so gave grocery bags to each of the churches with a wish list attached to it and was like, hey, February 26th from 4 to 6 p.m. is the drop off. And so encouraging people to drop off. Plus we had those organizations volunteer with us to intake the donations and organize it. And it was really cool.
To learn more about the Neighborhood Care Center, whether in Clinton or McLean County, visit neighborhoodcarecenter.net or find the organization on Facebook. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
March into Baum Chevrolet Buick and march out with a new Chevrolet. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. We have over 20 Silverados to fit your daily work needs in 1500, 2500, and 3500s in gas or diesel, all sale priced. Also, check out the Colorado pickup. This size and maneuverability may be another option as well. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. Baum Chevrolet Buick, right from the start.
News time is 18 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. The DeWitt County Development Council has announced its latest cycle of grants for local small businesses. On the WHOW Morning Show Monday, DCDC Executive Director Kurt Homan told the Hart Media Group that while they do not have exact dates yet, they are looking to give between $15,000 and $17,500 to local businesses. He reminds that how much you receive depends on what the funds will be used for.
While we're still working on exact dates, I will give you a few details. It's coming up very quickly. We're looking at 15 to 17,500 in grants this cycle. And again, those go to small business. They're small business grants located. The business is located within DeWitt County. And it's one of our very popular programs. And who doesn't love free money, right? Typically, it's very typical of our other grants we've done in the past. The requests typically are for items that will help improve the functionality of the business. So that could be new equipment, it could be software, it could be marketing, it could be a whole host of things. But ultimately, what the business owner needs to be able to do is to tell us why these funds would be beneficial, and how they'll improve their business or make their business better for them or for the community.
Homan explains that they often try to keep the scope of these grants wide so as to not box any business owners in or prevent them from applying. He notes that many of Clinton's businesses on the square have benefited from this grant cycle in the past.
We don't want to narrow anyone's ideas down. So if there's a business out there that gosh, if this would occur, then I could really do this. So we just don't want to take that away. Certainly upgrades, certainly those things are eligible for sure, but we don't want to limit. We don't want to limit their requests for needs. Here in Clinton, there's been a lot of business awards to the downtown area. And those would include some flooring, some electrical work, equipment purchases. But I can go through Sheer Paradise was gold standard barbershop. Sweet Maze was one of our recipients. I could just go down the square. There's probably 6 to 8 downtown businesses that have received some funds. Again, we can move over to Farmer City. The laundromat has gotten some new equipment there. There's a spa, hair place and spa that got a washer and dryer to assist them, and multiple things.
The decision of how much money is awarded is up to a panel of judges. Homan recommends keeping the asks small and adds that this grant cycle is focused on smaller projects.
So typically, again, the requests are small. The judges tend to like, if you have a $150,000 project, we love those projects. However, those typically aren't a real good fit for our grants. Okay. So with only up to $17,500 to award, a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, whatever that number is that would be granted, is pretty insignificant to those big projects. So we like people to kind of shrink their project down a little bit. And, if the request is $8,000, the business may get none of that, or they may get 8, or they could get 5 or 4, or whatever that magic number is that the judges see fit.
The funds for these grants, specifically this year, have in part come from the cities of Clinton and Farmer City. It is also funded by the DCDC's General Fund, as well as contributions from local financial institutions.
We get money from different sources. Some of that is specifically for our microgrant program. So this particular year, the city of Farmer City and the city of Clinton have both kicked in money specific for the microgrants. We also have First National Bank is contributing some money for the microgrant as well. And then we're taking some out of our general funds, and those could come from just out of our operating funds. So that's monies that have been used or donated for our support. But it's an important enough program that we want this program to continue. So the absolute most important thing that we will need in that application is details about their business, cost breakdown on the equipment or item or whatever it is. So we need very detailed information on what that cost is. And then most importantly, we need them to tell us why that purchase or why that money will make a difference in their business, improve their business, or whatever. That is the key thing that folks that their judges look for.
To learn more about the micro grants program from the DeWitt County Development Council, visit their website at dcdc.net or find them on Facebook. A local chapter of a national education sorority is offering scholarships for women in education. Kim Gaff is a member of the Mu chapter of the Alpha Delta Kappa sorority and explains that the organization is offering 2 different scholarships, the first of which is for women in education who are pursuing their postgraduate degrees.
Well, actually, some of the people in this area might remember Mary Ann Ryan. She was an educator in the Clinton School District. When she passed away, she was very benevolent and left us money to give out scholarships. So we have a $1,500 scholarship that we are going to be giving to an educator who is trying to further their education. This could be used for going on to get your master's degree or perhaps a special class that you've been wanting to take. So we're really hoping that educators in the Logan and DeWitt areas will take advantage of that opportunity. Well, the $1,500 scholarship is open to any educator who wants to take a class or further their education right now. That's the only requirement for that.
The other scholarship is an opportunity for educators to improve their classrooms. Applicants for this scholarship must have 3 or more years of experience teaching.
We're also offering a $500 classroom scholarship. Now, this should be for a teacher who's taught at least 3 years in her career, but it's a wonderful opportunity, especially for new teachers in the field to get some money maybe to improve getting items for the classroom for their instruction, to support students. I will tell you, we had one of our educators in Clinton schools that received this scholarship. She's a special education teacher, and she used it to buy special math materials to support math learning in the classroom. So we're very excited that we have this opportunity for educators. The $500 scholarship is the only requirement would be that you have taught for 3 years in the classroom. Okay, so say we have a new teacher who's come to Clinton. Maybe she taught 2 years in Bloomington and she's come here now and she's taught a year. She would meet that requirement. So we're very excited to offer that.
Gaff explains that the Mu chapter is dedicated to supporting women in education and their classrooms, and feels that this is just one small way they can do that.
Well, our current chapter, the Mu chapter, encompasses Logan and DeWitt counties. We have educators from Mount Pulaski, Lincoln, Clinton, Farmer City that come together and for the sole purpose of supporting women in education and supporting classroom development and curriculum, etc. We have been in existence now for more than 75 years, and we are an international sorority. Currently, we are supporting an educator from Indonesia who is attending Illinois State University. So when you belong to Alpha Delta Kappa, you're not just belonging to a local organization, you're belonging to a world organization. I think the only thing that I would like to remind your listeners is how important teaching is right now. Our teachers are experiencing a host of challenges in the classroom. I would like to remind our listeners to be supportive of not just your teachers, but your administrators. I will tell you, every teacher that I have worked with in Alpha Delta Kappa has come from a wonderful district, but it only happens when we have the support of your listeners, our parents, and the taxpayer. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for their support in that way. And of course, if anybody has any questions or they would like more information about this scholarship, please reach out to me.
To learn more about the scholarships, reach out to Gaff at kimgaff3@hotmail.com. She also invites those interested to text or call her at 217-454-6187. Applications are due by April 1st. Much needed moisture should be impacting East Central Illinois this week. Kevin Leidy is a meteorologist with WCIA TV in Champaign.
Yeah, it's actually almost coming perfectly timed as we sit in an extreme drought across, 7, 8, 9 counties down here. And here's the thing, we need 16 to 17 inches of rain over the next 3 months to get us out of the drought. Now, that is a lot of water in 3 months, but there is a definite pattern shift. And we have several days in a row where we could see good, steady, widespread rainfall, not just here in parts of, East Central and Central Illinois, but much of the Midwest are going to see day after day of some rain. This is a complete shift as to what the pattern has been like. And it does look like a good 2 to 3 inches is not out of the question. That's rainfall. We're not talking snow. This is going to be rain as temperatures are going to be warm enough to support that. And that is going to at least put a small dent in that drought. And the thing is, we need several more rounds of that in the coming weeks and months here.
Most of the rest of the state is between abnormally dry and severe drought, according to the latest U.S. Drought Monitor. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. That's DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. Best of all, it's all free all the time, right at your fingertips at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network news is now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. As the U.S. and Israel keep up their attacks on Iran, the Iranians are lashing out at other countries, including their arch-enemy Israel, firing what missiles and drones they have left in their arsenal. The American embassy in Saudi Arabia has been targeted by the Iranians. A couple of drones hit the empty building. No one was injured. 6 American service members have been killed in the war. Deaths in Iran approach 800 people, including that country's supreme leader. Several states kicking off the 2026 election cycle with primaries being held today. Oil prices are surging. It's driving a sharp rise. The price of gas at the pump. And barring a turnaround, Wall Street will be opening sharply lower this morning with stock futures deep in the red. The Dow futures down 716 points, while the NASDAQ futures are off 470 points. More details, srnnews.com.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or more importantly, if you're just not happy with what you've got, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare, and it's proven for more than 30 years it is proven. And we know this from member surveys. People love it, which is why it's grown to hundreds of thousands of members across the country. One big factor, besides the peace of mind that comes from being a MediShare member, the savings is tremendous. It is not atypical for a family of 4 switching to MediShare to save more than $8,000 a year. It is a difference maker, and you can get 24/7 telehealth. You get access to more than 1 million providers and hospitals. There are flexible options, too, for your budget. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. You could join MediShare anytime, so call them today and check it out. There's no pressure. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 844-45-BIBLE. That's 844-45-BIBLE, 844-45.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sportswire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. In high school boys basketball sectional semifinal matchups tonight, the second-seeded Tremont takes on 9th-seed Illini Bluffs at Monmouth United at 6 p.m., while top-seeded Tuscola plays 3-seed Altamont at Meridian at 7 p.m. Top-seeded Leroy plays 6th-seed Champaign St. Thomas More at Danville Schlarman at 7 p.m. In Class 2A, top-seeded Teutopolis plays 2nd-seed Warrensburg Latham at Monticello at 6:30 p.m., while the 1st-seed Quincy Notre Dame plays 2-seed Roxana at Pleasant Plains at 7 p.m. 1st-seed Peoria Manual takes on 2-seed Riverdale at IVC at 8 p.m. In Class 3A, top-seeded Decatur MacArthur will play the 2-seed Champaign Centennial at Mahomet Seymour at 7 p.m. And in Class 4A, the 1st-seed Normal Community will play 3-seed Richwoods at Rock Island at 7:30 p.m. In high school girls basketball, Super Sectional Championship scores from last night. In Class 1A, 1st-seed Mount Pulaski Lady Hilltoppers beat the 2-seed Edwards County Lady Lions 48-38. 1st-seeded DMAC Lady Chiefs also beat the 3-seed Weathersfield Lady Flying Geese 45-43. In Class 2A action, the number 2 seed Breeze Central Lady Cougars beat the 2 seed Teutopolis Lady Shoes 46-33, while the top-seeded Pleasant Plains Lady Cardinals took down the 1 seed Tri-Valley Lady Vikings 54-37. In Class 3A, the 1 seed Chatham Glenwood Lady Titans beat the top-seeded Decatur MacArthur Lady Generals 62-35, while the 1 seed Washington Lady Panthers beat top-seeded Providence Lady Celtics 73-47. The Edmonton Oilers are fortifying their defense ahead of the NHL trade deadline as they look to make another deep run in the playoffs. The back-to-back Western Conference champions on Monday acquired dependable defenseman Connor Murphy from the Chicago Blackhawks for a 2028 second-round pick. Chicago is retaining half of Murphy's $4.4 million salary as a part of the deal finalized 93 hours before the deadline on Friday. Murphy, who turns 33 on March 26th, is a reliable defender who should slot in on the blue line in the third pair. He's averaging 16 and a half minutes of ice time through 60 games with the Blackhawks this season, his 13th overall and 12th full one since making his debut in 2013. He leads Chicago with 87 blocked shots. Oilers general manager Stan Bowman has a long history with Murphy. He was general manager of the Blackhawks when they acquired Murphy from Arizona in 2017, and Bowman also signed Murphy's current $17.6 million four-year contract that expires on June 30th. To make room for Murphy, the Oilers sent forward Andrew Magnapane and defenseman Alec Regula to Bakersfield of the American Hockey League after they cleared waivers. Matthias Janmark went on long-term injured reserve. Cam Achord is taking over as the Green Bay Packers special teams coordinator after spending the last 2 seasons working with the New York Giants. Packers coach Matt LaFleur announced on Friday the hiring of Achord, who had been the Giants' assistant special teams coach from 2024 to 2025. Achord also was the New England Patriots special teams coordinator from 2020 to 2023. The Packers were seeking a new special teams coordinator after announcing on February 17th that Rich Bisaccia was stepping down and ending his 4-year tenure in that role. Green Bay has a history of special teams struggles that preceded LaFleur's arrival in 2019. Bisaccia was Green Bay's 3rd special teams coordinator in as many years when he was hired in 2022. Special teams problems led to Green Bay's early exit from the playoffs. With the NFC North lead at stake, the Packers fell to 22-16 in overtime at Chicago on December 20th after the Bears recovered an onside kick to set up the tying touchdown late in the fourth quarter. Brandon McManus went 0 for 2 on field goal attempts and missed an extra point in the Packers' 31-27 NFC wildcard playoff loss at Chicago. Green Bay does have one of the league's best punters. Daniel Wellen is coming off a season in which he became the first Packer to lead the NFL in gross punting average since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger. In scores from around the NBA last night, the Houston Rockets beat the Washington Wizards 123-118, while the Boston Celtics took down the Milwaukee Bucks 108-81. The Denver Nuggets beat the Utah Jazz 128-125, and the LA Clippers beat the Golden State Warriors 114-101. In NCAA men's basketball action last night, the top-ranked Duke beat North Carolina State 93-64, while second-ranked Arizona took down the 6th-ranked Iowa State 73-57. In NHL scores from last night, the Detroit Red Wings beat the Nashville Predators 4-2, while the Columbus Blue Jackets beat the New York Rangers 5-4 in overtime. In a shootout victory, the Philadelphia Flyers over the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2, while the Seattle Kraken beat the Carolina Hurricanes 2-1. The Dallas Stars romped the Vancouver Canucks 6-1, while the Colorado Avalanche beat the LA Kings 4-2. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.